my coach when I was a teenager
Yeah.
used to be very, very, very tough on me. I appreciate that it's not a method that would work for everyone. For me, it did. For other people, it might not.
Some people would, would they would have failure stop them, but yours it's more like, so if there are things within my control, and then there are things that are not within my control. The ones that are within my control, well, I can do better on myself, and then you just accept it for what it is. And then those that are not within your control, what you do is you say, next time, how can I mitigate against this?
Exactly. That's what can I learn from today that's going to serve me better tomorrow?
Welcome to Negotiation Secrets. This is your number one podcast where we talk about everything negotiation, negotiating for a job, negotiating for salary increase, or just negotiating for the life that you truly want. We have people from different parts of the world, different stages in their careers, different industries who we invite to learn from their stories so we can add to our arsenals on all our negotiation tools. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Esomeme, internal medicine physician. I'm a negotiation strategist, currently living in Dubai. And this recording is taking place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. It's my first time in Saudi Arabia. And I have with me today in my virtual studio, Hamadel Ndiaye. He's originally from Senegal, schooling in France, now lives in the UK. So it's this whole conversation is filled with people who have experienced different parts of the world. Hamadel, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. It's
Of
great.
course, of course. There was one of your videos. It's a video where I think someone had done something mean to you, and then you apologized. But before we go into all of that, I want you to tell my audience a little bit about you. Just like a quick summary of who you are, where you are in your journey.
Cool. Yeah, so I was born in Senegal, like you said. I grew up there until I was just before I turned 18. I moved to France to uni, so I studied food science. So I'm qualified food scientist. So I specialized in product development, research and development. So that's, coming up with recipes, improving existing recipes, that kind of stuff. Basically everything that goes on behind the scenes of the products that you see in a supermarket
Okay.
or on the shelf. So I qualified in that. And then moved to the UK for an internship at the end of the studies. Started working in that field, and then a little over 4 years ago, the opportunity came up for me to go into videography because I used to do photography and videos on the side, even as I was working as a food scientist. It's always been a huge hobby of mine. It took more and more space. So then I went half time, and then when the opportunity came up to go full time, I jumped ship. So yeah. So
So
now today I'm a videographer, and
yeah.
yeah.
You see, there's something I talk about with some of the people who I interview on my show. It's how we all wear multiple hats, and then sometimes when they say introduce yourself, you talk about one part of you, but meanwhile, there's so many different parts of us. And there's one part of you that's so huge that you didn't talk about. That's the part that you are a triathlete.
That's very true. Yes. Yes. So yeah, growing up in Senegal, I used to do a lot of swimming. So I used to be a swimmer, a
Yeah.
competitive swimmer. I was in the junior national team in Senegal.
Oh, was it
At some point,
was it hard to get into that, to be in like the junior or national team? Sounds like really.
um, it was a bit elite, but it wasn't. It was nothing extra. Like it wasn't anything extraordinary, but it was cool because I got to travel, do competitions in Africa, in the world as well.
Yeah.
It's been great, yeah.
Okay.
And then at some point, I had to stop for a bit for health issues, and when I was okay to come back, I was just a bit bored of swimming because you train 6 or 7 days a week, twice a
Yeah.
day. You're just staring at a black line at the bottom of the pool for 2 hours straight, and yeah, I just wanted a bit more variety. So I started cycling and running, and then started triathlon. And
And
today,
that's been
that's
how How many years have you been doing that?
I've been through doing triathlons for 6 years now, nearly seven.
Oh wow, that's been a while.
Yeah, yeah. So between triathlon and swimming, I guess
Yeah.
sport has been my whole life, pretty much.
So is there any combination between food science and being an athlete?
It does help a lot because when you're an athlete, you need to understand your body
Yeah,
and you need to understand as well how you're fueling, how you're recovering.
yeah,
And having that knowledge of food
yeah,
helps you, I guess, tailor your diet a bit better, or you read, the food label, the labels and the
yeah.
ingredient list on a product. It helps you to understand it a bit better. Yeah,
So it's like a combination of what you put in your body and then how you burn all of the stuff that's in your body. So
yeah.
question for you. So did you always want to be an athlete, or is it something that runs in your family? Is it that your parents were athletes, or how did you get into sports?
My parents have always been like big advocates of being active. So my brothers and I, since we've been young kids, we've been put into sports. Like we've
How many
done
brothers?
judo. Two younger brothers.
Any sisters?
No, no sisters. That's three boys. What's that disappointment? No, I'm
Hey,
just
I
kidding.
didn't know my face was that transparent. I just asked any sisters. No,
No,
no, brothers are great, you
no,
know.
no. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah, two younger brothers, and yeah, we've put into sports, judo, gymnastics. My brother does basketball, equestrian. Um, so yeah, we just started young, and as you go through adolescence and you start getting a bit better, then you take it a bit more seriously, and then once you get into the routine and the flow, I guess it just carries on naturally. And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's more like once you're raised that way, then it's just a natural thing. That's what you see yourself doing. It's kind of like you were programmed from when you were younger to do what you're doing.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yes, there's something about sports that I find very interesting. Anyone who does sports would have won and would have lost because it's just part of what it is. You can never always be the best at what you do. Even Michael Jordan, his team did not always win. And there's this thing about when you fail, right? Because sometimes when you fail, I failed. Sometimes when you fail, you could say it's the system that made me fail. But sometimes in sports, okay, I did not do as well as I should have done. How do you handle that? How do you not let that failure stop you? How do you use that failure? How, because you're still in sports, right? So the first time you failed, you kept going. So what keeps you going when you fail?
So like you said, you can blame the system or other people, but in swimming and triathlon, you are competing mainly against yourself, because you're in a lane, you swim up and down, and there's no one touching you or stopping you. So it's your own thing. So you can
Right.
only blame it on yourself at the end of the day.
Yes.
Um, and I was lucky, I do quote unquote, in a way that my coach when I was a teenager
Yeah.
used to be very, very, very tough on me.
Okay.
And I appreciate that it's not a method that would work for everyone. For me, it did. For other people, it might not. But he was never ever satisfied with what I did. Whatever I did, there was always something that could have been done better. So it's pretty much every time you try as hard as you can, but you
Yeah.
end up failing anyway for him.
Oh.
So always chasing that next step or that next milestone. If I we would agree, me and him, that okay, this championship or this swim meet, I would have to do this performance.
Right.
When I do the swim meet, I would hit the goal, hit the target. I would be
Yeah.
super happy. My parents
Yeah.
would be happy. My friends would be happy. I'd be
Yeah.
there really happy. And then when I see him, he'd be like, yeah, not too bad. But, and then he would bring up the race strategy. Why did you not lead the race from start to finish? Why did your turn? Why was your turn so slow? If your turn was quicker, you would have done even better. If
Right.
your reaction time was better, you would have done even better. So basically, there was always this little thing that would be, a small default in the performance. So I
So even
got used.
when you won, he didn't make you feel like you won.
Internally, I knew that he was happy or that I
Yeah.
hit the goal. I
Yeah.
don't know. I was lucky that I could see his criticism as constructive, even though I was young and it was hard sometimes. Like, it was
Yeah.
really hard. Sometimes I was like, why can't he just be happy? Like, why can't he just say, well done?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just knew internally that it was for a greater good. So,
So, but if you coach someone, are you gonna do that style?
um, probably not.
Okay, so you won't coach that way.
If I was to coach someone, I guess you kind of, I don't know, you juggle with the like you adjust to someone.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would be a good coach if I was coaching someone, because I know that I can put my head down and kind of push myself really hard, and that's not what everyone wants. So I don't know. I don't know if I would be a good coach, but yeah, I guess when you coach someone, you just adapt to how they are and how you are, and then you find a way of working together.
Yeah. So
But
I
yeah.
so I coach people, and I remember having a conversation with someone on my podcast, and we talked about coaching, and he coaches athletes, and I told him there are different styles of coaching. For people who are athletes, they're already driven, so sometimes you have to be tough with them. And then for people who they don't really have that drive, if you're too tough, they're just going to collapse under that toughness. So sometimes you have to read the person who you're coaching, and then you could say, you know what, I'm not the best coach for you. We don't have that harmony. I can't coach you. My style would not work for you. Or you can say if you can flex, and then you can flex and then coach that person. But back
Yeah.
to my question. But back to my question: how do you deal with failure? How do you keep going? I know you say your coach was hard on you, but what about you? Just you yourself, Hamadel. How does Hamadel, without any external influence? Because that's the most important. Because irrespective of what anyone says to us, we hear that, but it doesn't mean that we actually internalize it. So how do you internalize failure to keep going?
So I try to adapt that. I guess you could call it that growth mindset. So
Okay.
if something happens, if you know that you tried your best and it didn't work, so you failed, you can be happy that you tried your best, you gave it your
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
Things that are not within your control, I don't know, someone else's performance, or you had a puncture, or the weather was bad, that's stuff that you cannot control. The only thing
Right.
you can control is what you put in.
Yes.
So your efforts you can control. If you give your best, at the end
Yeah.
of the day, you can only be happy.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't work, you're like, oh well, it wasn't meant to be today,
Yeah.
maybe we'll try again harder next time.
Yeah.
And sometimes some stuff that you cannot control that will happen, you might learn from it and be able to actually control it next time. For
Can you
example,
give an example?
for example, you cannot control having a puncture.
Yeah.
Uh, the puncture just happens in a race, is bad luck. Ah well. But then next time you'll be more prepared and you'll have a repair kit with you, or you'd have better tires with you. You know, you cannot control the weather.
Yeah.
Sometimes the forecast just changes. So I guess you train more under the rain, or you learn how to corner and how to handle your bike under the rain, so that next time when it rains, you don't have to slow down. You
I
know,
th-
those.
I think that's really smart. I think that's really smart, because some people would they would have failure stop them, but yours it's more like, so if there are things within my control, and then there are things that are not within my control. The ones that are within my control, well, I can do better on myself, and then you just accept it for what it is. And then those that are not within your control, what you do is you say next time, how can I mitigate against this? If I need to have, like, a first aid kit, I need to prepare under inclement weather, so I'm more ready for it. Then that's how you just try to overcome that failure. I
Exactly.
Yes.
That's how, what can I learn from today that's
Yeah.
going to serve me better tomorrow? So that's when if I fail today, that's okay. It's happened. That's
Yeah.
it. It's done. There's nothing I can do about it.
Yes.
What I can do though is what can I learn from today that's going to serve me tomorrow, and then I can do better and I can avoid failing next time.
Yes.
But all that is granted in is rooted in I have to try my best, you see.
Yes, like you give it your best shot. Most athletes are competitive, right? They want to beat the next person. I'm the very opposite, and you can tell me your take on this. I'm the very opposite. I do not try to beat anybody. Let me give, for example, let's say I see you running, and then I'm like, oh, you know what, I'm going to run past him. Meanwhile, I don't know that you've been running since before you were born. When your mom was pregnant, she was running with you, and then the day you were born, you started running. Then I then I say I want to beat you. I don't know the genes you have. Maybe your genes are just for you to run. Then I say I want to beat you. What I do is I want to be the best version of myself, and kind of similar to what you said. So if I know I gave you my best shot, then I'm fine. And my best today might not be the best that's required for tomorrow. Tomorrow I can do better. But based on all the information that I had, all the resources that I had, I gave it my best shot, then I'm fine. But what's your take on that? You being an athlete?
100%. I would agree with what you said, because that can actually relate to, most people, which they don't chase performance. They just chase fitness, as in they want to live a good, healthy life.
Yeah.
So I would say to a friend, like, let's go for a run, just easy. And they'll be like, I don't want to run with you because you'll be too fast. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, I'll slow down. I'll adjust to your pace. Like,
Right.
you pushing your 110% hurts as much as me pushing my 110%. We're both gonna be in the same pain level. Maybe we won't go. I might go a bit quicker than you, but we are both hurting the same way. So as long as you pushing your 110% and I'm doing the same, then we'll
Yeah.
be doing it together. So
But that would work. But Hamadel, that would work when you are, because I'm really trying to test my hypothesis, because that would
mhm.
work when you're running with a friend. But when you're competing, does that really work when you're not trying to beat the next person? Because for me, I'm like, my goal is to be the best version of myself. But when you're in sports, I don't know if that really works. Does it work? That's my question.
Oh yeah, no, in sports, yeah, in sports it doesn't work. In sports, obviously, when you're in a race, you want to beat everyone. Oh yeah, for sure. In a race, you have to, yeah, you want to come
You
first. You want to beat everyone. So
Let me ask you another question. So if I want to come first, right? I get inspired by people. I could see someone do something. I'm like, oh, I like how this person does this. How can I do that? However, my question is this: I don't believe in trying to beat the next person. Although in sports you have to beat the next person, right? But if I give my best, can my best be better than my best because I'm trying to beat the next person? That's the question.
oh, okay. Yes, I think that is possible,
Oh, really?
because sometimes you would think that your best is this,
Yeah,
and it will be scary because you think, it's really hard to get there. But if you actually try, you might surprise yourself and end up doing better. And
I
that
get it.
happens a lot.
So that's
Yeah.
been inspired by the other person.
Yes, exactly. So use them as inspiration. Yeah.
And,
And
mhm.
if I can ask, that's also a bit, it's the spirit of the sport. You want to beat someone, but you don't want to win so that they lose. You want to take and pull the best out of each other. Does that make sense? So,
So this is Hamadel. He's representing Senegal, and
yeah,
then there is Gloria representing Nigeria, and then we
yeah.
are we are running. And you want to come first, right? I want to come first, and I want you to come second. You want me to come second. So how does that work?
Like, we're doing a 100-meter race, for
Yeah,
example. Okay. If I beat you, but that's just me. Other people might not agree, but we're competing really hard. I beat you and I win in 10 seconds. You done 11 seconds. If you tried harder, you would have done 10 seconds and I would have done 9.5. I would much rather have that, you know. I would rather have the 9.5 and 10 rather than 10 and 11 because we are pushing each other. At the end, the best will win,
Yeah,
but during the race, we're pushing each other, you know.
I see what you mean. That's
It,
that. You know what? That's taking this conversation to another, to one of your videos that I saw where you were talking about someone was, you were riding your bike and someone kind of like was being mean to you, and then you responded in kindness. Can you tell me about that story?
oh, yeah. So I was going out on a bike ride. I was planning 300 kilometers that day. So it's going to take me the whole day. And within the first 2 hours, it was around 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
A guy drove past me and shouted some abuse out of the window, which I didn't hear at first. I was like, huh, that's interesting. Like, why would he take his energy to put the window down, take his head out, and shout? Anyway, the light turned red, so I caught up with him. And then he started saying that I was rude. I didn't even say anything. I was just coming up, and he started shouting, "You're rude." I was like, "Me? Why have I done?" And then he said, "You shouldn't be riding at this time of the morning. You have big queues on the road behind you," which was absolutely not true because I make sure, if especially if I'm on a busy road, I make sure that I look back, that I'm not holding any cars because it's unfair. And if there is any space and it's safe to let them pass, I will do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, he started saying all those things. I was just listening to him, and then I stopped and said, "I'm sorry," because I knew if I started shouting at him, he's
Yeah.
already given up. So if I shout, it's only gonna escalate, and he won't hear me. I won't hear him.
Yeah.
So maybe if I break the script and do something that he didn't expect, maybe
Yeah.
he will actually think, "Huh, maybe I'm taking this too far."
Yeah. And how did he
So first of all, well, the first time I said I'm sorry, I think it caught him off guard, so he wasn't too sure what to say.
Yeah.
But then his friend, so he was the passenger. His friend who was driving the car was starting to laugh, as in he was mocking him. So then he realized, okay, maybe I'm taking this too far. So he started, digging himself into a bigger hole. Like, yeah, no, I shouldn't be here. And then I said, I hope I didn't ruin your day. Just,
Whoa.
and that's when he said, um, yeah, seeing one of you lot ruins my day every day. And at that point, I was like, okay, maybe I'll just, I could have kept apologizing, but I thought at that point, maybe a silence is even a better answer. So I didn't say anything. I said, oh, well. And silence. So I'm standing there next to him, complete silence for like 15 seconds, which is, it's a long blank in the discussion.
It is
And then
huge.
but I think the power of silence is big. People underestimate the power of silence. Then the light turned green, and then he actually became nice. So he said, "All right, we're off now. Bye." He could have just drove off, but he
Yeah.
said, "No, bye." So that makes me think that he actually realized, okay, maybe I'd taken this too far, and maybe I
Yeah.
missed out. Nice. So maybe that was his way of apologizing. I don't
Guys,
know, but
yes. But how
yeah,
did you learn that skill? Because you're not very old. You're not very old. So many people who are way older than you. I do not have that skill set. And that's the reason why I'm talking to you. So how did you develop that skill set to not match negative energy? Someone speaks to you, and because all of this happens in split seconds. So it's
yeah.
something that has to be there. You don't develop that on the spur of the moment. It's something that has to be in you naturally, and then you respond based on who you are. So how do you do that?
I guess it's just a reflection of how I've been brought up, and seeing my parents, I don't see them raise their voice.
Yeah,
Especially my dad. If he's upset, I mean, he might raise his voice a little bit, but
yeah,
he won't shout
yeah,
and he won't lose control.
yeah,
And Same with my grandmother. I mean, my grandma, as she was getting a bit older, bless her, she would lose control a bit more. But kindness has been her whole life, basically. So she's always been a big advocate of violence doesn't solve anything for long term. So
Yeah.
you could use violence to sort the issue now. It's a quick fix, but long term, it doesn't help. The issue is going to come back. So between those two examples, and also I think remaining calm, kind of, like if when you lose control, you kind of put yourself down. Like you're not able to control whatever's going on.
Yeah.
So if you can channel it and be more like a bottle of water than a bottle of Coca-Cola. A bottle of Coca-Cola, you shake it and it
Yeah.
just goes. Whereas
So
bottle of water, you can shake it as much as you want. When you open
yeah.
it, if it doesn't want to wet you, it won't. It'll
Yeah.
just be there. So yeah, absorb whatever and think about it. Think what you're gonna do about it, and then respond. Don't be reactive. I guess be proactive. So
Yeah. So because you were you were not reactive, because being reactive is that he said this to me, then I'm going to match that. But being proactive is that he said this to me. How can I change this conversation? How can I change this dialogue that's going on? And my
yeah,
podcast is called Negotiation Secrets. And one of the things that are really necessary in negotiation is knowing how to manage your emotions. And when we talk
mm,
about negotiation, negotiation does not necessarily have to do with only making deals in the boardroom. You had a negotiation interaction with that person because you said, all right, I'm going to negotiate this whole thing going on right now. This is what I want as the outcome. And you held your peace, and that got you what you wanted, because we're having this conversation today because of that interaction. You know what I mean?
yes,
it
yeah,
could have it could have just been like one angry interaction and then it ends. But
yeah.
you being able to channel that has brought on more benefits than you just getting that high of, oh, I'm going to match him. I'm going to tell him a little bit about himself. I'm going to tell him that,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's very tempting on the spot to even without saying anything, just break his wing mirror because I'm on a bike. He's not gonna chase me,
yeah,
so I could just break his wing mirror. I mean,
yeah.
I had that scenario in my head.
Oh, you
I was
did.
never gonna do it, but I did think about it.
Yeah.
Um, Even
But
though I was not
how
gonna
do you
act on
pick
it.
that? So what guides you? What so when you're in that moment, how do you choose not to be the bottle of the bottle of Coke, of Coca-Cola? How do you choose to be the bottle of water that does not explode? So what how do you think through that process, or it just happens?
I guess it just happens. And maybe in a way as well, it was a bit selfish because I still had a long day ahead of me. I was going to cycle for 12 hours. This was only hour number two. So I still had 10 hours of cycling in front of me. And I was thinking, I can't ruin my mood or my day for the whole morning for this. Like, it's just not worth it. So
Yeah,
it's just yeah. So in a way, I was thinking about myself as well. I
yes,
can't spend mental energy and have a rush of adrenaline at 7 in the morning when I'm
yeah.
only going to finish at like 6 or 7 p.m. tonight. So
You know what I just learned from you? What I just learned from you is that when you are in a situation, you do not just think about that time, that point in time. You think about the full journey. And yours was that you were cycling for a whole day. But
yeah,
Hamadel, we're living life. We are cycling through life, right?
yes,
We're cycling through life, and we don't want to waste our energy on situations that don't add value in the long run. So why give up that energy today that could propel, rather than continue on activities that will propel your life in the right direction?
yeah.
Wow.
And if I can ask, usually when someone
Yes.
comes at you and they want to, just shout and show that you're in the wrong, they're in the right. Usually it shows that they just want to show they're a bit superior, I guess. So I'm never going to meet him again. There's no camera or TV, or even if there was, let him have it. It's fine. He wants to be superior. It's not going to affect anything in my life. Not going to change my life. So let him have it. It's fine. So if you want to be entitled, that's okay. It's just yeah.
Okay, let me switch it to a different scenario.
Mhm.
So what if it's school? what if it's a different setting and someone is bullying on you? How would you handle that? Because sometimes when you're silent, when you're silent to bullies, they will keep bullying on you until you push back. So how would you handle that?
Um, it's very hard with bullies because if they sense at some point that you are trying to take over them, or they sense that they are losing the battle, they might double down on whatever they're doing. So that can be really, really hard to manage. But first of all, whatever someone's doing to you, I find anyway, if you can find a way to establish a connection, as in a communication line, then
Yeah,
that's your start. If someone's shouting at you, if you start shouting, you're not establishing that connection line. That connection line needs to come from you toning down on whatever they say, because it's going to take them by surprise, and then the space is open now to connect and start talking.
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, first point, I guess I would try to, whatever someone's saying, I would try to break the script that they expect, and then try to establish that communication line. And then from there, I can try to figure out what are they trying to get out of me. If they're trying to show that I'm stupid, I don't know, I'll try to prove otherwise. Or if it's really what they want, that's fine. If it's not going to change my life,
yes.
I'll do it.
So it's just looking at the bigger picture.
Yeah, exactly. I can be stupid for this person, but for everyone else, maybe I'm doing, on that spot, I could have reacted. But once I
Yeah.
posted it on social media, there was so many people that were being supported. And then, I don't know, I just sat there thinking, like, imagine if I just went and shouted at him. It could have
Right.
changed the story.
It would have. It would
Yeah.
have. So yeah, so I saw that and I was just blown away because that's a skill I'm learning, right? And we learn every day. I think for me, true growth is knowing what your weakness is, and then you trying to learn from people who have gone ahead of you in that aspect of your life.
Yeah.
Then something else I want to ask you is I see you as someone who is negotiating for the life that you want. So you lived in Senegal, then you moved to France, and now you are in Britain. So what guides you? So what's your guiding principle when you're moving through these spaces? And also when you're not from a certain place and then you have to move to that place, how do you immerse yourself in that culture so you don't remain a foreigner? Because the last time you were not a foreigner was when you lived in Senegal where you were born, and for the past 6 years you've been a foreigner. So how do you navigate that?
I mean, even when growing in Senegal, because my mom is French. I mean, she's half French, and my grandmother came from France.
I see.
So in Senegal, I'm more light skinned than most of my friends.
Yeah.
So even when I was growing up, I was seen as a foreigner
Ah,
because I was
yeah.
always a bit more light skinned.
And then
And
your grandmother was not from there.
yeah, my grandmother wasn't from Senegal.
Yeah.
So speaking Wolof, which is our national language, with a bit of
Yeah.
a French accent. So my, even growing up, I was always seen as a foreigner. But then the first time I went to France, because I have family there,
Yeah.
obviously I'm much darker than all of them. So there, I'm also a foreigner.
Yeah. Oh man.
So I had, I guess, growing up, I had, before adolescence, like when I was a kid, I had this huge identity crisis. Like, where do I belong? Where am I from? Because
Yeah.
at home, I'm a foreigner, and at home, the other way, I'm a foreigner as well. But
Yes.
luckily, my mom had to go through the same thing when she was a kid. So I guess she kind of taught me and my brothers that it's not a handicap, because you don't have to be this or that. You can be neither or, but you
Yeah.
can also be both and just take the best of both worlds. Basically.
That is so
So
fun. Like you take the best of both worlds, and that's just how you navigate. And you don't have to. I think that's really smart because for me, I've lived across three continents. I was born in Nigeria, lived there, went to med
Mm.
school there, and then I moved to the US. And because everyone in Nigeria was black,
Yeah,
right? We didn't have we don't really have, some other countries had like foreigners there. We didn't have, so I didn't even know I was black. I knew I was female, I knew I was Christian, I
yeah,
knew I was from the South, but I didn't know I was black. I got to America and then
yeah.
I realized I was black. I'm like, okay, how do I handle this? And I was not really fast at noticing racism. And then my friends had to start teaching me racism, and then I started getting angry, like, oh, then after a while I had to tell myself, Gloria, this is not your story. You can you can see injustice and speak about injustice, but you don't have to take the anger. You don't want to take on that bitterness of what really did not happen to you. And then just knowing how to navigate through that. And now I moved to the Middle East, where I'm learning the culture, I'm learning how to navigate and learning how to negotiate for the life that I want. And so, yes, I see what I hear you, where you take the best of both worlds and just be the original version of yourself, not trying to fit into any
Exactly.
mold. You're never going to fit into any mold, you know?
Exactly that,
Yeah.
and as long as you're connected to your roots and your culture,
Yes.
then if you are a good person, you can adapt anywhere you go. If
Yes.
you go, if you are, I don't know, a black in a completely white community or vice versa,
Yeah.
if you are a good person, you're gonna thrive in there. If you are a bad person, no matter where you go, you're
So,
gonna have issues.
yes. And even though some people may not like you for whatever prejudice, you're always gonna find your tribe. There are always gonna be people who would stand up for you, people who would see injustice and speak to it, and then you can find your own community of people who support you. And I don't expect everybody
Exactly.
to like me. But those
Yeah.
who like me, I appreciate those, you know?
Yeah, and also, it's speaking to negotiating for the life you want. If you're a good person, usually you will end up meeting good people. Like, the life I'm living today, which is I've turned my hobby now into a job, but that's because I met good people that gave me the opportunity.
Yeah.
Like, my current boss, he had another career before then. He got into filmmaking, and went on full time. But
Yeah.
then when I spoke to him, I guess, there was not a there was there was like, it was kind of a match, and it just worked out, and he gave me my opportunity. But if I was a bad person, I guess that wouldn't have happened. But
So no, but
through me,
I think some bad people also have good things happen. Good things happen to both good and bad people, and some people may be
yeah,
bad in one spot in time, and then they do good in other things. I don't think there's someone who is completely bad, and I don't think there's someone who's
yeah,
completely good. We all have, like, we're fighting to be the best version of ourselves every day, and it takes a
yes,
special skill. It takes a special skill to see opportunity.
yes, yeah, that is very true, because you don't always see it. Yeah, that's
Yes.
true,
It,
because
because
sometimes it can come up.
have made that buzz and not realize that, oh, that's my lucky break right there.
Yeah, I guess it he kind of made it easy for it to happen naturally, so it
Yeah.
flowed.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes it is hard to see, and that's where you realize that you can't move alone. You have to move with people.
Correct.
Mm. To have the best chance to move with people, you have to try and be a good person most of the time.
Fine. Yes, I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you. If you're someone who you keep your word, you're kind, you're generous. People know they can trust you. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter where you are on earth. You're gonna have people gravitate towards you, and then and if there are opportunities, people, if you have the right people around you, even when you don't see it, they will point it out to you.
yeah, that, and dim out. I guess one of the main things as well is that dim out your ego. However big your ego is.
Yeah.
I'm not when I say you, I'm not talking to you, by the way.
Look, you can
Because
tell me. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it, Hamadel. I'll take it. I'll
it's
demand my ego. I will.
it's whatever you do, that guy in the van. If I had a big ego, I would be like, okay, there's no one around, but he can't be superior to me, so I'm gonna show him that he's wrong and I'm right.
Yeah.
But it doesn't solve anything. And
It does.
then, meeting my boss, he taught me so much, and I was just willing to learn. When you meet people, you ask questions, and if your ego is big, you'll be like, oh, I know it all. But if
Right.
you can dim down your ego, then you can absorb and you can make friends.
You're right.
So
You're right.
yeah.
That's the. I'm so glad I had this conversation with you. Maybe this was just my way. Maybe my podcast was just my way of learning. I'm like, how do I learn this? Oh, well, I'll have him on my podcast, and I get free lessons.
That's a good strategy, man. That's a good
So
strategy. I
let
mean,
me ask you, what's the most intense competition you've done that when you were done, you were like, oops, this took a toll on me. So what's the most intense?
a race. I can remember one in particular where physically I was
Hmm.
at the end. I was done, and I mean I didn't even win, but it's just it was a race in Senegal,
Yeah,
and I was on holidays. I didn't train much, and I came from the UK to go on holiday to Senegal, so I wasn't used to the heat and the humidity,
yeah,
and because I'm just able sometimes in a race to put my head down and just push as hard as I can.
yeah.
That day I was, when we talk about the limit, I was very very close to, yeah, to it being quite bad. I had a heat exhaustion at the end,
Oh.
which is from there to a heat stroke. I guess there's not much more. So the last 100 meters of the race, I cannot remember
But
because
you
I
made it to the
just,
finish line. Did you make it to the finish line?
yeah, I made it to the finish line, but there was, I couldn't put one more step. I finish line and then that's
That
it. I
was it.
was sitting that, like sitting on the floor with my
How did you
eyes. I was lost. Sorry,
how did you push yourself? How did you what kept you going?
I don't even know. It's just inside. I was like, I cannot slow down first of all, and I have to
Yeah.
make the finish line. So yeah,
Wow.
I
Wow.
guess when you train, sometimes that's what you have to do. You just have to put your head down and push yourself as hard as you can.
So
So,
it's more
but
like all the internal conditioning from all the training that you were having fine, even though you hadn't trained for that environment, but it's not like you were not training before then.
yeah, and I would say actually in training, I have suffered more in training than in that, because racing is the fun part. When you race, there's spectators, the atmosphere, music, everyone's cheering. But when you're training, you
Yeah.
are usually on your
Just
own.
there, you're
In
by
the
yourself.
UK,
Yeah.
yeah, in the UK it's dark, it's cold, and you have to push yourself. So when you train, is actually that's the hard part. Racing is fun.
Yes. So how can you apply that to real life as we round up this conversation?
Um, how can you apply the? Just think about the work that you do at the moment and think about how it can pay off in the future.
Yeah.
Like, don't settle for, what's the thing again, instant gratification. It's more
Patient.
about patience, putting in the work, the boring work, usually the repetitions, is what's going to pay in the long term, and trying to
Yes.
stick to that discipline. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that in training definitely helps in life as well.
Yes, because in life, because today I was actually thinking about that. I was thinking of so many things I've done, so many meetings I've had that haven't really led to so much results. And people would not know how much work is being done behind the screen. They have no idea how much you push yourself. They see some of the results, they see the iceberg. They have no idea of what's underneath, all the failures, all the self doubt that you push yourself against. Yes.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What do you think is there for you in the future? What's your plan?
The plan at the moment, I guess I'm trying to. I mean, this conversation with the band guy have been kind of an eye, not an eye opener, but just putting it out there and seeing all the comments and the reactions for it.
Yeah.
I wish it was something more normal, that people would just see as anything normal, but apparently it was a bit beyond normal. So yeah, I hope that one day it becomes normal. So I guess yeah, just trying to grow social media. I'm gonna start soon a podcast.
Are you gonna have me on your podcast?
I will have you on my
Are you gonna
podcast
have me as
if
a guest?
you. Yes,
I'm
please.
shameless.
If you would like it, I would greatly appreciate it. Yeah,
Look, count me in. I'll be on your podcast. It will be an honor for me to be on your podcast. Like, yeah, I would love to be on your podcast. I would love to talk
that's
to you again, just so I can learn how you because apparently everyone loved that video because it made a difference, right? So it's so that ability that you have, that skill set that you have, it's huge. It's something that most people wish they have and they do not really have. So I don't think you should take it for granted.
thank you. Thank you. If you allow me, actually, I have two small tricks that I use quite a bit. Um,
Why did you wait
they're
till the last to share your tricks?
okay. I just thought about it now.
Tell me.
One of them, I cannot take credit for it because it's actually from my coach, and
Okay.
it's in training, but it also applies to life. And I'm actually gonna make a social media video about it, and it's when you don't feel like doing a workout, before you skip it, just try the first 10 minutes. Usually, it's the warm up. So if you just motivate yourself, wear your gear or dress up, go and do 10 minutes. Once you do those 10 minutes, then you can decide, okay, I'm not feeling good today, or I'm going to skip this session, I'm going to bin it. But
That never
just
happens.
try. Just try.
Once you go out, because I've never gone out to run and then say, you would finish you, because once you do that, then you're doing the workout.
Exactly. That's it.
Yeah.
Then you but sometimes you actually might be a bit ill or you're not feeling great. But if you're not feeling great still after 10 minutes, then it's a much more informed decision
Correct.
than if you just binned it at the beginning.
Right.
So
So
that's
that's
just
trick.
try 10 minutes.
That's trick number one. What's trick number
Yeah.
two?
Number two, and it's very much tied into this one. It's pretty much the same, but it's about small mental, I call them mental battles.
Okay.
So when you wake up in the morning, that's very blunt example, but you wake up in the morning, you have to rush, shower, go to work. You don't feel like, okay, like today, I'm not going to do my bed before I go.
Yeah.
That's a mental battle for you right there.
Yeah.
If you do your bed, you won your mental battle because you didn't want to do it, but you forced yourself to do it.
Yeah.
I don't want to send this email right now. I can do it after my lunch break, or I can do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's a mental battle. So you have to win it.
So
I guess
it's to win the little mental battles that will help you develop that mental stamina for you to fight the bigger ones.
exactly. Yeah. It's very small, very, very, very small things. But how you do anything is how you do everything. So do it
Yeah.
right when it's small, and then you probably do it right when it's big.
Oh, wow. Hamadel, I expect great things from you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sincerely do. I sincerely I expect great things from you. I think you're outstanding. You're phenomenal. I think you have a great future ahead of you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's
Yeah.
much appreciated. Thanks
It's,
for
I'm
saying
being I'm
this.
being I'm being sincere. I don't say that to everybody.
I very much appreciate it. Yeah. Thank
Yes.
you.
So thank you so much for listening to this episode of Negotiation Secrets. I've learned so much from this episode. It just reinforced some of the things I knew before, and it just gave me some of the reawakened some of the things that I wanted to work on. Anyone who knows me, I'm working on trying to be more temperate. So if you've known me for long, you know me. If you push my button, sometimes I let it go, but I'm trying not to let that button go anymore. And it's just for me to. One secret I've learned is for me to look at the big picture. That might not be what your struggle is. We all have different struggles. My struggle is my temper, and I'm working on that. And your struggle might be procrastination, or it might just be your struggle. So I want you to take one step forward. look for materials, look for people, or much more important, make a decision on one thing you're going to stop doing. Because we don't get better if we do not consciously try to be better. So, as we're negotiating for the life we want, we need to pick up those tools, those skill sets that will help us get that life that we want. Mine, for me, is being more temperate. I don't know what yours is, but I want us together to build a community of people, of women and men who are negotiating for the life that they want. And the second ask is, I want you to like this video. I want you to share. I want you to subscribe to the channel. So let's create a community of people who are negotiating for the life that they want. And last but not least, as I always leave you guys, I strongly believe you have the potential to be great. So go be great. Thank you.